Hey, you guys. So, to piggyback off of the other one, welcome to Bathroom Chronicles. It's your girl, Jaleesa. So, yeah, um, you know, do your research, do your due diligence when it comes to your family, when it comes to friends, new, old, and potential partners and stuff, especially if you have children. Um, one thing I can say is you can't plan for a kid. You can't. Um, but I feel like when you have a child, that's when you're supposed to have a child. There's a reason for everything, but you can't plan for a child because every child's different. There's no manual on how to be a parent. There's opinions, there's opinions and statistics on certain stuff, and even statistics aren't really things. So now we're back to opinions. So, but I say that to say, you know, when you have your first child, no matter who it's with, when you have your first child, that lets you know if you want more children or not. But that mainly shows you what I'm getting at is how that other person is as a parent. And I was 23, yeah, 23, had my son at 24, I believe. Um, but I was young, young, dumb, and full of cum, and in love. So I thought that was love, but that's not love, you know. Um, Although I don't have love in my life right now, I can feel what love embodies. And I love myself enough to know that I don't need anybody to add value. Well, you will add value. People will add value to you. But to validate my self worth, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I don't see anybody. I'm just tunnel vision. I'm just trying to keep my head above water, you know, deal with the BS that was presented to me, still, if you have children, still trying to keep a smile, trying to keep your mind afloat. Like when we were kids, we were having fun. We didn't have a care in the world, and we need to get back to that even as adults, not having a care in the world. Even if it's just go taking a walk, riding a bike, going to get ice cream, like tap into your childhood every single day for the most part. Like, I was thinking, oh, once in a while. No, every single day. Do something once a day that makes you happy. If that means calling into work once a week, and you didn't hear it from me because I don't know how your job, how it goes. Um, if you have a guilty pleasure, if you like chocolate ice cream and you're on a diet or whatever, maybe once a month, once a week or something, just treat yourself to, chocolate ice cream. Treat yourself to an event, a concert, the casino, horseback riding, because I really want to do horseback riding. I love horses. Coloring. Just get some computer paper and just draw, or go to Dollar Tree and get coloring books, Amazon, whatever, free promo. Um, but yeah, I feel like every day, or even if it's just laughter, watching a childhood movie. Like, there's a lot of childhood movies that I'm hearing references to that I've never watched. I cannot wait, and I know I can do it now, but I don't have any of them subscriptions and stuff like that. At least not to my knowledge, unless the frauds, the scammers and stuff puts them in my name. But so YouTube doesn't show me at least the ones that I want to watch, or whatever. So I know with that situation, when I have my lover, I want to watch those, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I've already seen like the Dalmatians, Rapunzel, those movies, like from the 90s and early 2000s, the Disney movies and stuff like that, Again, I can do that on my own, but that's something I want to do with my lover. Um, but, do what makes you happy, what you love, what embodies love to you, and then you'll attract and radiate more love. You know, we have what I'm kind of realizing is like, well, I know we have energy, but we also have scents, smells on us too. That's why spiritual hygiene is really important or whatever. Now, me, I'd be like, oh, if I'm taking a day out of work, or, well, if I'm not at work, like one day I don't need to, like I'm home, I'm lounging, where am I going? I'm not getting dirty, like I'm not physically outside. And it could be a fall night and I'm not sweating because it's going to be, oh, somebody you said it. And it could be wrong, but it just feels right. When we go to sleep, what makes you think that you're not astral projecting? You're not fighting in the spiritual realm. You're not fighting demons, entities, and all that. You're not fighting in the underworld. So you don't think those entities and demons aren't on you? The devil, and his minions aren't on you? So to wake up and take a shower, take a bath, that may be something that you're not able to do. Now you wake up a little bit earlier and you can't take a bath, a full 30-minute bath, whatever long, but you may be able to take a 15, 20-minute shower or whatever. But bath or shower, you always feel good. So pour into you, and speak up. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Now, sometimes you can be all sweet and, hey, like, all right, or sometimes you can let somebody know, like, I'm not the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, like, don't play with me, and that's where I'm at in my life, is where it's like, don't play with me. I'm a grown woman. I don't care as far as this whole government, like, I do care as far as this government thing and stuff like that, but I already got that out the bag, so I'm not worried about that. But as far as, like, okay, people want to, use scarcity tactics and then use, finances against me, which that's probably the same thing depending on how you look at it or whatever. Financial abuse, thank you, universe. Financial abuse, all because I know who I am and I'm speaking out about it. Now, again, I can't speak on everything because there's, legalities and stuff like that. That's another thing. People want to play with the mail, and I still have yet. And I get information to let me know when my mail's coming. They will say 3 pieces of mail, 4 pieces of mail, whatever, and I'll get 1 piece of mail. And lately, it hasn't even been my mail. It's been my karmic baby daddy. So, whether you're being harassed by the government, harassed by the post office, harassed at the doctor's office, harassed in your complex, speak up and speak out about it. Like I posted before, reach out to the FBI. You don't have to put in your personal information and stuff like that, but speak out. And it can be about anything. Honestly, it doesn't just, it doesn't just have to be about what I'm speaking about, because they have all different type of frauds, abuse, and stuff like that. And like there's elder abuse, but there's so many things that define elder abuse. Like if people are abusing, like manipulating the wills, I believe, the mortgages, like the house things, I wasn't really looking at that. I was looking more at something else, but I was just surprised to see how many topics, and then within those, what it describes, because I was like, wow, I wouldn't have known that. Now, if all of them, you don't need your information, I don't know, but I know specifically for like the abuse of power, cryptocurrency fraud, investment fraud, I think we're saying like landlord fraud or something like that. I could just be adding that, but anyway, you could still put that in there. For that one, you didn't have to put your information in. But we know what's what. We're not stupid. We're not stupid, and I'm not stupid. I know what's what. I know that people are using magic to prevent me, and people can believe or not believe in magic. Magic's all around us, but I know what my karmic baby father was sent in to do. I didn't realize that my karmic familiar unit was deep in it. Like, I'm a child of a cult family. Now, I've watched videos on that, but didn't think I would be one of them. And thankfully to be one to survive. Because not all of them have survived. And some of them are just barely surviving. And I'm not even going to mention any names because I don't want to put any hype on her, because that girl's really out there fighting for her life. It's just, there's levels to this. Or maybe we could sit there and look at it, the girl that I'm thinking about, maybe, and I'm not victim shaming, but because now you got to question everything. Like when you unlearn to relearn, you got to question everything. Is this person not really who she says she is, and it's just a hoax for us, the public? Because everything's on a world stage. Like, all this is wiretapped because I was lied on and stuff like that. Like, this is crazy. But it's okay, though, because I have faith in God. And I haven't been obedient within the word, just sitting down, him and I. And you don't physically have to be sitting down. You can be driving, you could be walking, you could be taking a poo-poo on the toilet. You can be in the shower, and that's the best. But just that one-on-one time, so I can hear clearly, get fed, get that daily bread. That's what's going to feed me for the day. That's what's feeding me for the day. To be ahead of the enemy. And I know that there's a lot of people depending on me, but like I said, I was ignorant to the fact, again, because I've had this mess up a few times, thinking, okay, I did everything, so now what? Like, I'm, and that's not how it goes, and then there's divine timing. So, no, not lazy, because people sit there and say that you're lazy, but they don't know what you've been doing behind the scenes. And it's not for them to know, because every conversation, everything that God presents to you, gives to you, whatever, you and God's relationship is just that. He'll let you know what you need to reveal to people, to give him the glory, because it's just going to go back to him, and then some of it is just for you and him. And that's okay. People call you selfish. It is what it is. You weren't shooting with me in the gym. You weren't with me when I was struggling. You weren't with me when my lights were supposed to go off, but they didn't go off. Thank God. You weren't with me when I didn't know what was going on, how I was going to get food on the table this month, or just in general, because the enemy's coming at me heavy. And I'm not giving credit to the enemy, because when you do know better, you do better. And I make jokes about it, granted, I am going through a lot of witchcraft because I am who I am, but we can just say the Matrix is witchcraft. They got these people who are using it just to energy harvest and make us do things that we don't want to do. We don't find fulfillment. We don't find any type of pleasure in it. And I'm not trying to be nasty, but just, you don't find any fulfillment. It doesn't bring you joy. Going over, oh God, I gotta go to work. Oh gosh, I gotta wake up, deal with the kids, this and that, which nothing's wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, it's so mundane. It's just repetitive. There's nothing exciting, Then time slips away, and like I said in one of my last videos, we haven't been on a vacation. And I'm not, I haven't, but I'm just saying in general, like, you haven't been on a vacation. You haven't, as a couple, been on a date night ever since you guys got married, 10 years ago. Or let's say you guys got married 10 years ago, your last date night was 5 years ago. You lost the spark within each other. But when there's love, respect, honesty, unity, determination, motivation on everybody's, because there's people out there that are willing to help me and support me, and thank God in advance, but I still have to prove myself that I'm worth investing. And yeah, they see that I'm worth investing, but I'm not pushing myself to my full capacity to be like, okay, I am a good investment, which I am a good investment, and I know it's all going to work out, but I can't have a good stretch and then stop and then it's like, okay, what happened? 15 on the time apiece.